Welcome to Carsluith Holiday Lodges. I'm going to do a short video on how to light our hot tub fire. But before you've done any of that, inside the lodge door you will find this hot tub disclaimer. If you could please read and sign that before you do anything. Thank you. In the lodge you will find aside of the fire, fire lighters and matches. You only need one fire lighter and the box of matches. When you come to the fire, get yourself some of the kindling out of the top of the little woodshed, is what you pass on the way in, and some small pieces of wood. Get 2 pieces of kindling and put them on the floor together, and then place your fire lighter on top of the 2 pieces of kindling. Because if you don't do that, the fire lighter will burn for a few minutes and just drop through the grate. Right, now I'm going to light the fire lighter on top of my 2 pieces of kindling. Now you want to build your kindling stack like you were building a pile of Jenga. So don't build a pyramid, build a little Jenga stack over the top of your fire lighter. And be careful not to burn yourself. You need approximately about 7 or 8 pieces of kindling to actually get a good little fire going. Let your kindling get going before you start chucking loads of wood at it, because if your kindling hasn't sort of even just got a little bit of fire going in it, you start knocking it all about and knocking all the flames about, it won't really get a light. You'll knock it out before you actually get it burning. So give it a little bit of time. Good. Once your kindling looks a little bit like that, and it actually, your kindling has taken light and it is burning, then we can actually start to pack some timber round the kindling. So what you want to do first is get a couple of nice big pieces, or what will fit down either side of the fire, down either side of the kindling, and build up from either side. Now what you want to do is just stack timber from one side to the other side all over the top of your fire pile without trying to destroy your fire pile. Once your fire looks like this, we're going to leave that to actually take a good hold, and then shut the door. We're going to make sure the vent is fully open, and we're going to leave that for about 10 minutes. Once your fire looks a little bit like that, and it's actually, you can see now it's actually taking fire and we've actually got things all nice and burning, what we need to do is get a couple of big logs, nice big logs out of the woodshed, and basically stack a couple of nice big logs at the front of that fire where it's burning. Give it a wobble and push all these logs into the fire. So if you put a couple of nice big logs at the front, they can start nicely getting warm and start to burn as the back bit's all burning. And once the back bit's burnt down and we've got some nice red hot embers, we can push these logs nice and gently onto the fire at the back. There is a fire glove in the lodge if you want to use the fire glove in the lodge. Now we're going to just shut the door and let that get all nice and burning. We're going to unclip the lid at this side and push the lid back on itself. And every 25 minutes we're going to come and give it a good stir, because it's just like a great big bathtub. At one end it'll get really hot, and if you don't stir it you'll end up with a big hot spot and 2 cold spots at either side. So we need to give it a really good stir to make all that hot water blend with the cold water. So when you're taking a temperature reading, you're taking a temperature of the whole tub, not just where the hot water comes out. To take the temperature, you just pull the string, grab one of the temperature gauge. You're looking to get to about 30 degrees with a good fire going in the burner. This one needs a bit longer to get to 30 degrees, so we're going to shut the lid, put the clips in, and leave it for a while. Right, now when your fire gets a good burn on, and you can see it's all nicely started to burn, everything at the back's all nicely started to burn, there is a glove inside the lodge, so if you want to put the glove on at this stage, basically just push the wood from the front that you had against the wood back into the fire at the back of the burner. Then that's all nicely burning, and then just put a couple more logs up at the front of the fire again. Just be careful not to use all of the small logs that are in the woodshed. There is some big logs and little logs, so if you can start to use the bigger logs on your wood burner, on this wood burner, and save some of the smaller logs for inside your logs when you're burning a little fire inside the lodge. So now when your fire looks like this and you've got a good fire burning, you've got a couple more logs on the front of there, just shut the door, make sure your vent stays fully open. Remember, don't leave the glove out in the rain. Check the thermometer. Just getting to 30 degrees, just over 30 degrees. I'm going to give it another stir. And then I'm going to check my fire. Remember to put the lid on. Right, we're at 30 degrees when we've just checked the temperature. What we want to do is still have quite a good little fire going, but we don't want to put some great big logs on there and overshoot 38 degrees. So basically, if we find a couple of sort of average sized logs, we'll stick them in. That'll keep our nice fire going. Shut the door. Make sure the window's open, and we'll leave that a little bit longer. The ideal temperature is the hot tub to be at 38 degrees. So we're going to leave it about another 20-25 minutes and come back and give it a stir and see what temperature. It's been 25 minutes. We're at the right temperature. I'm going to take the lid off. Undo all the clips, which are really simple. Just squeeze them and then grab onto the lid and lift the lid to one side, sliding it in there. Go and get your drinks and jump in. Once you've enjoyed yourselves in the hot tub, remember to remove the thermometer, then it doesn't get boiled. Put that down to one side, and then put the lid back on. If you just pull the lid back towards yourself, pop it back on, put all the clips back in, the hot tub will stay warm because they're very well insulated for quite a reasonable amount of time. So if you want to use it later on in the evening or first thing tomorrow morning without lighting a fire and just jump in, just take the temperature and give it a bit of a stir and jump in.